Hi, and welcome to the Voila Method podcast Solutions for the Mind, Body, and Soul with Joel Crandall, the creator and developer of the Voila Method. The Voila Method bridges the gap between the complex, making it simple, using an assessment and a treatment protocol that aligns the mind, the body, and the spirit. Voila Method is more than a technique, it's a lifestyle to help you as a practitioner and your clients. And today my guest is Christopher P. Scott out of Albany, New York. Thank you so much for joining me today, Christopher.
Thanks for having me, Joel. Glad to be here.
I'm happy to have you here because we've got a lot of fun things to talk about. And the first thing I always like to talk about first is how has the Voila Method helped you personally?
Yeah, so I've had in-depth talks obviously about this with you. About 3 years ago, coming up in June, is kind of when I took Voila, and I had taken multiple modalities at that point, trying to basically learn everything I could to get the best results for my clients. And what's interesting about Voila is one of the first things you teach us is, we're going to work on ourselves as well as on the client, which you don't quite understand how important that is until you do it. And I loved what I learned in the seminar. It was really life-changing material, because at this point now, I pretty much, as far as body work goes, use Voila primarily. And what's interesting about it is, for me, it took me on a deep personal journey. About a year and a half, actually, I struggled with my confidence level, and I couldn't figure it out. Because I was getting these great results, crazy results even, with Voila, doing these simple corrections. But my confidence level was kind of up and down. And, I remember you had talked to us about these different things that we'd learn about ourselves. And of course, we're, at the time, it's like, okay, whatever. Who knows what he's talking about? And I remember the day, actually, I was sitting in my car when I actually got my confidence back and realized that the reason I had been struggling is because I hadn't been able to trust myself. And I finally got that trust in myself back, if you will. And that just took me to a whole other level. And now at this point, I really do have complete trust in myself, 99% of the time with what I'm doing and the answers I get with working with Voila. So it's absolutely transformed, one, my practice, but also how I treat myself, relationships with family, friends, all that. So it's really it's just much more than a modality, really. Level one.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to get across with this. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do the podcast with you, because you are so open with everything that's happened to you. And, we are human. So there is that natural roller coaster ride. And so one of the things we do talk about is that intangible of Voila and what's going to happen to you. And you have no idea what I'm talking about until you live through it. And you're like, that's what he meant. Right? So you've been doing,
100%.
Yeah, and you've been doing some really cool things. Your business is MindBody Move, and you've been doing a kind of a MindBody reset program. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so kind of inspired by what I've learned in Voila and nutrition training and different things that I've done, herbalism. I kind of combined the best of all those worlds together to give people basically a customized way to, one, improve their nutrition, but also improve kind of their mindset and really kind of heal at the deep emotional level. Because most programs out there are either nutrition based or maybe they're some mindset based, but there was never anything that I saw I felt like was missing, that was this conglomeration of all that. And it's really cool because I kind of came up with this format, combining everything together, and I took small group of people through my first run through, and it was absolutely amazing. Aside from improvements in health, people's self-love improved. People got off anxiety medication, depression medication.
Nice.
I had a gentleman with Parkinson's who dramatically improved his fatigue levels with Parkinson's, and just more of a sense of well-being and peace around his Parkinson's. Tons of self-love improvement, which is one of the best things to see.
Huge.
And just a sense of improvement of ease. Like it's actually crazy how much people transformed during the 12 weeks.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I want to talk to you is because you can use the Voila method in many different ways, and you talk about using it with nutrition and some personal, growth stuff, and that's really what Voila is about. It's not just a form of body work. I'd like to just tag on to your nutrition thing, as I had a client came to me, and certain times of the year, her belly just blows up, looks like she's pregnant. She's, in her 60s, so we know she's not pregnant.
Yeah.
And she's gone to certain nutritionists, and one nutritionist will say, "Oh, you're supposed to be vegetarian. You should go vegan." And then a different nutritionist will say, "Oh, no, you need to eat animal products." So she comes to see me, and so I just start testing. And I said, well, what's really fascinating about you is they're both correct and they're both incorrect. And what I mean by that is 6 months out of the year, she had to be eating vegan. And the other 6 months, which was, I think, the fall and the winter for her, she had to eat the meat. So it was just really fascinating how you can use Voila to break things down, conglomerate everything together, as you said, to make a more cohesive and simplified path for your client.
And I think what's crazy about that too is because I was going with an open mind. I don't really care what the answer is, right? Like I'm not looking for a specific answer generally. That's part of the process. But you'll go in and sometimes the answer you get is like, really?
Right.
That's the answer. Like, and I'm like, okay. And like I said, at this point I have that trust level. I'm like, okay, that's what we're going to do. And it works out every time.
Would you like to share a little bit of your process on how you got there, Chris? Because I know it wasn't an easy journey for you.
Yeah, kind of like what I talked about a little bit earlier. There's just these big struggles with self-trust. And what's interesting, talking about like the other modalities were good stuff. I learned lots of great things from them. But, they're just external components, right? Whereas with this, it's combined. There's external things happening, but it's really coming from, internal.
Mm-hmm.
And some people even listen to this now won't even understand that until they actually do it, right? But
correct.
Yeah, like a year and a half was just absolutely crazy, like ups and downs, roller coaster ride. And I got that level of self-trust coming in about year and a half. And from then on though, it's been even more growth, like going to level 2, for example, right? Like that's the next level of growth and delving into more of the emotional components of things, which, you think you have handled, but you really don't. And that brought up another level of growth for me over the past, 8 months now or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just now barely starting to get the level 2 stuff. And
you just got your official welcome into level 2, didn't you? Yeah. People don't understand. So you take the level 2 class, and I tell everyone you'll get your official welcome when you actually start to have some realizations. And so Chris is about 8 months out, right? Just got his official welcome into level 2. So congratulations on that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like you think but you don't know, right? Like, and so when it finally happens, it's the aha. But like you said, you can't understand it until it actually happens. And there's just been this huge periods of growth where, like, honestly, I'll be honest with you, like some days I felt worse than I've felt in years, like just depressed and down. But I have trust and faith in the process of moving forward with it. And it works.
That's why you're on here, for your honesty, Chris, because, we're human, right?
Yep.
We're having a human experience. We're going to have our ups and downs. But what I think is also very powerful about the Walleye Method is we have what we call the village. And you have been very open and honest with everybody on that page and sharing your struggle. And in you doing that and opening up to being that vulnerable but powerful person, it's helped so many other people in the village that have been afraid to step up and speak out. But yet you have done that. You've taken that role and you're like, this is me. And this is how I'm finding trust in myself and confidence in myself. So congratulations to you, Chris.
Thank you, Joel. I really appreciate it. Really do.
I appreciate you, my friend.
Likewise.
I know you've had some crazy successes that you've talked about. Is there one that you in particular you want to share?
So here's the problem with this, right? I think about this every day when I post online. Like I'll do a post here and there about one person, right? But in reality, that day I had like 5 people that were just amazing.
Yeah.
Stories, and not everyone's just like simple, easy, thing. It's we're human, like you said, we have these layers. But I'm trying to think of just one. This is the problem. I'll give one. This is one of my favorite ones to share because this is really cool, and I had no idea what was going to happen. Again, open to the process. I had a woman come with me. She had been a few sessions at the point. We'd cleared up a lot of like her neck pain, her back, jaw stuff, and so she had mentioned to me in that session, hey, I have these allergies that I'd love to get rid of. Do you think you can do anything for them? And I'm like, let's try it out. And I think this was after, might have been before level 2, actually. This might have been before level 2, but I had some of the level 2 kind of concepts there. So we delved into it, and it turns out that the primary reason was actually an emotion. And what was really cool is the emotion was, I don't know, she was like, I think like 6 or so, and she wanted to mow the lawn with her dad, but her dad wouldn't let her mow the lawn. And what's interesting is the allergy she had was actually to grass, right? So you're thinking, okay, let's check this out. So we cleared up the resulting emotion, which I think she had some kind of like hurt from it, and so we cleared that up, and I'm like, all right, well, she's like, well, I'm going to mow the lawn this weekend. We'll see how it goes. And she usually get like runny eyes, itchiness, like just miserable for mowing the lawn. But she loved to do it, which, that delves into a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
So we cleared that up. She was going to text me on Sunday. She never texted me. I'm like, oh, maybe it didn't work. She texted me Monday. She's like, I waited till Monday because I want to see if this is actually for real. She's like, I had no symptoms whatsoever. Absolutely none. And she's done it like, I don't know, 10 more times since then with no return in allergy symptoms whatsoever.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it was.
So I'm assuming that allergy medication never touched it.
Nope.
Yeah.
And what's interesting too is she had taken tests and she was positive for allergies to grass, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's just they're testing the hormonal system of the body, and that's what we try to portray or let people know. There's so much more happening in Voila than just what you're seeing. Stuff is happening on a mitochondrial level that we have no understanding of, and you just showed it right there. That's a perfect example, Chris.
Yeah. And like I said, the thing is, I was open to the possibility. I said, hey, we're going to see what works. I have no idea, which is one of my favorite things to say, actually. I'm like, if I don't know, I don't know.
Right. And I think, too, though, that that's what we say while people come to you and hey, can you help me with this? I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Right. Be open to the process. It's not like, well, yeah, I know I can help you. No, it's, hey, let's play. Let's find out. Let's see what comes up.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Yeah. Because you never know. How would you have gotten grass to, a 6-year-old having dad saying no?
Yeah, exactly. But it's cool that once you see the picture, it all makes sense too, though.
Right.
Like when you see the whole thing unwinding, it's just fascinating.
It is fascinating. That's what I love, and that's why when I even say in the class obviously we have to do it for insurance purposes or whatever is your intake form on all their pains and aches, and it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit information until you get to the core of like really what's going on, which you did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then the true story comes out. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, moving a little bit away from the pain relief into more of like the health coaching / life coaching, I want to call it. But, people coming to me for pain, it's never about the pain.
Never.
Like at this point for me, like we start dealing into all this. Usually it's childhood stuff that comes up, and they're like, "Wow, I had no idea." Like, and like, I feel so good. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, and that's just it. Everybody's so concentrated on pain, and like, oh, I relieve the pain, and I put a patch on, and they have no pain. Who cares?
I don't care.
It doesn't matter, right? It's like I can give you heroin, you won't have pain, right?
Yeah.
But let's get to the reason why that pain is there. That's what we need to get to. So talk a little bit more about your program here, Chris, because I know it's great and it's online, so everybody can do it. Just doesn't have to be in your area of Albany.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. So basically, how the program works is the first part of it is kind of gaining awareness around who the person is, like as an individual, like how they identify themselves, like.
And are you using the VOILA method there to help you find out who they are as far as what I call a baseline?
It depends, because a lot of this is like group coaching. For the first section, I will, but I also have like I'll use it, but I have tools for them to kind of self-identify for themselves.
Perfect.
As well.
Perfect.
And then they kind of set like a vision for themselves of what they want, like, and who they want to be. Basically finding their best self, not who they currently identify as. Whether that's I'm sick or I'm overweight or I'm depressed. Like those are all obviously right, like identities that aren't really them. Yeah, so we're trying to get them to open up to the possibility of who they really are in the first section. Then it moves into nutrition, it moves into sleep and stress, and then move a little bit deeper into emotions as we go through the program once they've gotten to that point to kind of help them start clearing up their own emotional stuff. And then we'll go through basically coaching calls where we go over some of the information in more depth, and then I work with them basically one-on-one to help them clear up their individual kind of sticking points.
Right. You use the Walleye Method to figure out why are they eating that, or why are they making the choices that they're making.
Absolutely. So yeah that's where it'll go in. I have some one-on-one time with each of them too, where I go even a little bit deeper. Help them clear up kind of those inner blocks.
Sure.
That's really what it is with the food. Like, if we're talking about the food aspect, it's like, yeah, it's all there with their emotions, whether it's from, some guilt they felt from mom and dad, and it doesn't even have to be related to food, right? Like, it's just how it manifests with it. And the same thing with their sleep and the other habits. So I'm using all these physical things to help them, but also we're diving in to kind of their inner being to help clear it up from both ends.
Perfect. And I love that you've included sleep into this, because for me, that's the number one thing.
Yes.
That's my first question to a client. How did you sleep after the session? Because that's where the healing is happening. That's when they can recover. So beautiful.
Exactly.
If you don't have sleep, you're not going to get anywhere with anything else.
You can't rebuild. You can't recover. The nutrition's not going to do as good for you.
Yeah, you're going to make poor choices.
Yep. Not as mentally clear.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing, like people got out of the program. And then towards the end, we have kind of like a kind of detox/cleanse. We're really trying to clear up even deeper. I use some fasting techniques and stuff like that to kind of help them, one, clear up stuff, but also what I found with fasting personally and with clients is the emotional stuff it actually brings up to the surface.
Absolutely. So, and that's one of the reasons I want to talk to you, Chris, is because you're using this as a life coach, a health coach. And I personally think anyone that's doing any life coaching should take Voila to really help them with their clients, to do what you're doing with them. Most people use movement to bring the stuff up to the surface. You're using food to bring the stuff up to the surface, and the fasting to bring the stuff up to the surface. And that's just beautiful. And that's, one of the things I'm trying to portray here is it's just much more than just using physical movement. It can be anything that you can use Voila with.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a thought they have, right? Like, it's infinite, like what you can do with it. And the thing about it for me that I love is like, you're not guessing about it. Right. Like, it's not like I think it's that. It's like, okay, well, I asked and it's that.
Right.
Like, of course, you have to have a level of trust to kind of tune into that. But once like I'm like, even if I think the answer like goes against everything I believe, I don't care. Like I'm like, we're going with it, you know?
That brings me up into another whole thing, which I wasn't sure we were going to get into, is, the difference between belief and truth, right? You can have a belief system, but voila, for myself personally, has blown up a lot of my belief system. It's like, no, that's not true to me anymore. So that belief is totally shifted.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be painful, like as you take belief. But like for me, I think that actually going back to what we were talking about earlier, I think that was part of the process that was painful for me. Was I came to the point to realize like I had to kind of be, how's the word, like absent of belief, if you will. Like I have certain foundational principles, but it's kind of like being open, like just to go with the flow, right? Like, and that's, at least at first for me, it was terrifying. Like, it's kind of like you feel like almost unsettled, like you don't have a foundation. But really the foundation is in realizing that anything can change at any moment, and just kind of being open to that and being okay with it, and realizing it's just you're allowing more truth into your life versus, something you learned from when you were a child and to believe, or from society, or from anything else. And that's one thing I hammer on in my program too, is like, we got to let go of this dogma. Like I'm like, and I'll ask them constantly, I'm like, why do you believe that? And most people don't have an answer to why they believe the things they do.
No, that's just what I was told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 99% of the time, it's like, well, that's what you do. Well, who says?
Right.
Like, and that's for me. Like, I'll question my beliefs like that all the time. I'll be like, okay, well, if I say something like that, I'm like, well, according to who? Like, says who?
Well, that's just beautiful, Chris. Keep up doing this work. It's going to help so many people. And what would some advice, or what would you say to somebody who's thinking about taking the VOILA method?
You got to do it. Like, I mean, if you're ready to kind of dig into yourself, help clients on a deeper level, help yourself on a deeper level, and actually like get true like personal transformation or growth, is really not an option to not take it, in my opinion. Like, it's going to be, for me, it was a catalyst. I think for most people, it's a catalyst to true personal growth. Like, not this like, I read a couple personal growth books kind of scenario.
Right. And I think something we want to go back to, Chris, because I think I've known you for about 4 years now.
Yep.
Because I met you prior to teaching the VOILA method. And you talk about how the VOILA method has helped change you, but also your relationship with your wife, with your children, and with your friends. I have found, I've known you for 4 years, and I know more about you in this time period than I've known for like people I've known my entire life, because it's at a deeper level.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, Chris, thank you so much. Remember, it's Chris, we find you where at mindbodymove.com?
Mindbodymove.net, which that's not even done yet.
.net, okay.
Yeah, I'm a slacker. And I have my Facebook page. I got my free Facebook group, which is Mind Body Healing, which delves into some of these topics where I give a lot of like super valuable free content away for people to take action on. But, if you're going to join that group, you got to be serious about kind of wanting to take transformation. It's not just for anyone who's just going to sit there kind of on the sidelines. So.
Kind of like what we say with the VOILA method, right? If you're taking this for CEUs, no, don't bother.
Yeah, like I want people in that group to be like a community of people who are like taking action and actually improving, versus just taking content and reading it and never doing anything with it. That's just useless, right? Like,
correct.
We can keep kind of consuming, and we never actually do anything with what we consume.
Beautiful, Chris. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Joel.